All right, it's time for another episode of the Josh Cast. Yes, indeed, time for another episode of the Josh Cast. Ooh. Feeling, how am I feeling today? A little discombobulated. That's how I'm feeling, a bit. What am I worried about today? There we go. There's an operative question. What am I worried about today? Well, I got to fill out this request to get my insurance lowered, my health insurance lowered form, where I've got to prove to them that I am less of a risk. I think I can do that. I think physically the riskiest thing I've done was I tried riding one of those Lime scooters, which for my hand-eye body coordination is on par with climbing Everest. But pretty innocuous. One of the times I rode it, I wore a helmet. The other time, no, both times I wore a helmet. There's only one time where I didn't wear a helmet. 2 out of the 3 times I've done it, I have worn a helmet. Other reasons why I'm low risk. I, where possible, try never to leave my apartment. I exercise daily by fretting. And my diet's gotten a lot better, way better. I did cheat last night and have a couple of pieces of cake. I gotta say, by the way, in my cake situation, that I think it's time for me to grow up a little bit and say that chocolate cake is superior to vanilla cake. That's all there is to it. I went through a period where I wanted to embrace both equally and put them on an equal setting. That's what I tried to do last night, and it just did not do it. Did not do it. Vanilla cake is not bad. I'm not saying it's the end of the world to have vanilla cake. But, if I'm stuck on a desert island and I can choose between chocolate cake and vanilla cake, I see now my course is clear. Chocolate has that extra something. For lack of a better term, I'm going to say joy. Don't get that with the vanilla. I mean, vanilla's vanilla. It's a perfect name for it. That is why people say, it was vanilla. I feel bad I can relate to vanilla. In many ways, I'm the vanilla of people. Not objectionable, but at the same time, you're not going to have a torrid love affair with vanilla. I remember growing up, I would eat the vanilla yogurt when I didn't really want to taste anything. Now, I suppose you could make the counter argument that vanilla is subtle, and you have to enjoy it based on its subtlety. Fair point. But subtlety, in comparison to the perfection that is chocolate. I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again. Chocolate is so good. A mediocre chocolate cake is vastly superior to a mediocre vanilla cake. You eat a mediocre chocolate cake, it's still acceptable. You're still having a good time. Mediocre vanilla cake, the aftertaste has a bit of regret in it. Other anxieties. Other anxieties. Well, there's the usual fear of my, the urine situation, where I'm peeing a lot. Doctor doesn't know why. Thinks my bladder muscle is weak. So, naturally, I'm thinking, could this be the sign of a bigger problem? Like death. Have I been diagnosed with death? Caffeine makes it worse. So it's interesting. Here's what's really interesting, actually. I've felt better on my dieting. And between having to give up the caffeine and giving up the sugar, I'm really cutting away stimulants. I'm cutting away stuff that gives more energy. And maybe that's the problem. I got too much energy. Now, I have no energy. And I feel better. Perhaps the only way to cure anxiety is to be too tired. Aha! The last thing my second therapist said to me as I was leaving before college is he said, "My biggest concern with you is your anxiety and the worrying." And it would have been nice if he had not said that. I think the last thing to say to somebody who worries a lot is, I worry about your worrying. That is not going to help lessen the worrying. Now, the irony of this observation is that he was more worried about my worrying than I was when he said that. I think the thought that crossed my mind was, well, if that's the worst thing I got to worry about, I'm fine. Which is surprisingly a laid-back response. I'm trying to think of the last time I genuinely felt relaxed. And you know what? Here's the irony. I really only feel relaxed when I'm busy and I don't have time to stop and think. When I'm working. That's when I feel relaxed. Actually, I don't feel relaxed. I don't notice. So it might be an interesting experiment to try to relax. I'll try right now as I'm driving. Not relax too much, because then, well, that'll be certainly the end of this podcast. But if I take a deep breath and I just relax some of the muscles that I don't need to tense, and I just try to release the agenda of trying to do anything right now, what comes up? I'll tell you what comes up. I hate anything with dragons in it. I'm sick of the dragons. Totally sick of dragons. It's just, I don't know, this mythical creature, I'm sick of this thing. This heroic lizard that can fly. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the romance, people getting tattoos of dragons. The dragon doesn't speak to me. The dragon is not who I am. I'm not a dragon. I want to write an episode of Game of Thrones where there's a character who can talk to lemurs. Finally, someone I can relate to, someone I could play. I can control all the lemurs. It serves no tactical advantage whatsoever. But it does let us know when we should run. And it was 2 episodes ago. I asked one of my lemur scouts to infiltrate enemy territory and let me know how many dragons the enemy had. And the lemur said, "I'm not going to do that." And I said, "Yeah, you're not. You're not. I shouldn't have asked you that. I'm sorry." Frankly, this is more of a handicap than it is a strength, because all I hear lemurs saying is, "We're going to die." Well, that was an interesting riff, wasn't it? Yes, but I like seeing that. This Seinfeld talked about this. When you point out something that everyone has seen a million times, but they see it differently, or you see it differently, and they go, "Oh, I never thought of that," and you're right. Those are some of my favorite moments. Those are some of my favorite jokes. Or pointing out the irony that is already there. Like going into a Starbucks and seeing a sign that says, "Ingredients in this coffee might give you cancer." And they put that on the side of the trash can after you have consumed the beverage. Or after you have already purchased the beverage. They don't put that up front. That should be in the title of the establishment. Coffee bean, our product might cause cancer. That should at the very least be the tagline, if they're going to post that. That's my 2 cents on that. And the person driving in front of me doesn't know where they're going. Or the person in front of... Nope, it's them. They don't know where they're going. They're driving at a snail's pace. I may have to pass them. I don't like passing people who are in the left lane. Why are you driving slowly in the left lane? Go into the right lane. The left lane is for passing. The right lane is for slow people. So much for relaxing. See, and this is not the kind of thing that should bother me. It really isn't. And the thing I'm going to do, I always do this, is as I'm passing the person, I'm going to look inside the car and look at them, and then prejudge them based solely on their appearance. Older dude yawning. There you go. Not even awake. He kind of looked a bit hipsterish, which surprised me. Another prejudice of mine, but I just always got the feeling that hipsters are hip on the speed limits. Or at least going with the flow of traffic. And then there's a guy riding a bike who has no business riding a bike in the middle of traffic. Ah, the suburbs. Now here's the question. I'm approaching my destination. There are 2 parking garages I can use. One will definitely have parking, the other one might not. Do I chance trying the one that might not have parking because it's closer? Or do I take the safe bet and pick the parking garage that definitely has parking? These are the questions that preoccupy me. truly, these are those questions. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take a risk. Taking a risk, trying the lot that's probably going to be too full. Hoping for a miracle. Hoping for a miracle. Not seeing a miracle. I might have to go all the way around to the other space, which will take 15 minutes. I see people walking towards the mall, which means they found a space. Were they lucky? Was someone leaving as they came in? They were holding hands, so they were in love. Too in love to worry about the fact that they parked on the sub-basement. Lo and behold, there are spaces all the way at the bottom. My God, if it were a half an hour later, I would be screwed. But there is salvation. We've done it. We have done it.